Good morning, everybody. Lee Brower here. Welcome to this week's edition of Meaningful Monday. I am grateful to be here. I am glad to be here. Last week we talked about William James. We talked about his powerful insight, his quote that says, "The deepest principle in human nature is the craving to be appreciated." And we explored how giving recognition, looking arrows out, can transform not only others, but also ourselves. However, there's other things. I'm not going to say they're more important, but just as important in life as being appreciated, as appreciating others, as important as recognition is. There's something that's every bit as important, and that's learning. Imagine life without learning. Can I share a story about our son, Nick? Nick, at the age of 18, was diagnosed with terminal cancer. And despite his circumstances, he chose on giving back. He created a foundation called WACKY, Warriors Against Cancer in Kids and Young Adults. And we've done wacky events ever since. One of the first things we did was a wacky softball tournament. It's now gone on for 17 years. And that's 10 years old to 16-year-old girls who play. And it's totally different than even though they're highly competitive, it's different in the sense that each team is assigned a cancer cutie, keenly aware of why they're playing. And the atmosphere and the mood is completely different, even though they're highly competitive. But one of the things that Nick insisted on for the 4 years that he was alive while this tournament was going then was that for each team, as they were eliminated, he wanted to meet with the girls all together. So you can envision him in the center of these girls all around as he's talking to them. And the first thing he would do is he'd go, "Well, did you win or did you lose?" And their heads would drop down and say, "We lost." But then Nick wouldn't let him stick with that mindset. So he followed up with questions like, "Well, did you have fun?" And the girls would answer, "Yes, yes, we did." "Did you learn anything?" And they'd kind of think about it. "Well, are you a better player today than you were 3 days ago? Do you think you throw the ball a little bit better? You're a little bit smarter, maybe bat a little bit better? Did you learn?" And they think about it. And they go, "Yes, yes, yeah, we are better." He says, "Well, it sounds to me like maybe you didn't win the tournament, but you learned. And if you learned something, that sounds like winning to me. And in this tournament, we have no losers. We only have winners and learners." And that's where I want to focus this week's message. We hear these sayings all the time, but I'm going to bring a distinction to you. Think about them. I pulled out a few. Ralph Waldo Emerson. "Life is a succession of lessons which must be lived to be understood." Pam. John Powell. "The only mistake is the one from which we learn nothing." Pow. Oprah Winfrey. I like it. I like this one a lot. Turn your wounds into wisdom." Pow. Dan Sullivan. "Always make your learning greater than the experience." Pow. How about Napoleon Hill? Every adversity, every failure, every heartache carries with it the seed of an equal or greater benefit. Okay, kind of like that. But see, Nick understood this lesson deeply. Even in the face of life's toughest challenges, he found ways to encourage others to grow, to see beyond the winning or the losing, and to focus on what they could learn. And you see, that's the key. That's the key to turning life's challenges into moments of growth. It's not always about coming in first, but it's about how the experience shapes us. Let me talk to you about Nelson Mandela then. Nelson Mandela really was a testament to this concept. Think about it. He was born in 1918 in South Africa at a time when apartheid was at its worst. It was brutal, okay? And he was, in his early involvement with it, he ended up being imprisoned. How long? 28 years. 17 or 18 of which was on Robben Island. Now, how did he react to that, or how did he respond? Instead of becoming bitter or resentful, Mandela used his time to learn about his captors, about his fellow prisoners, and about himself. He studied, he wrote, and he reflected on how to achieve a peaceful transition for South Africa. And so his time in prison became a time of immense personal growth. In 1990, he was released. So 1972 to 1990. Think about it. Instead of seeking revenge, he went out on a path of reconciliation, and he became the first Black president in 1994 of South Africa. And you know the rest is history. His ability to learn from his experiences, even the harshest one, allowed him to lead with wisdom, compassion, and what I would say is an unwavering commitment to peace. Each setback was an opportunity to learn and grow. But what makes the difference is his words, and I was just reading them a week or so ago, and that's what struck me. His words were not what you should do. It was what he says to himself, what he said to himself. And these are the words, very short. I never lose. I either win or I learn. Now, since I heard that, I mean, his life teaches that's how you face life. That's how you face the unexpected results or consequences, or the consequences you make even. We always have this ability to learn and transform our experiences into something greater. So since that day, I read that. I have looked myself in the mirror and I said, Lee, you never lose. You either win or you learn. Make today a great day. So my challenge to you is that as you reflect upon others and you turn your arrows out, you start with yourself. Maybe you can look in the mirror and say, I never lose. I either win or I learn. And as you look at your day's events and you look at your experiences, you will have a completely different mindset that will empower you and give you the strength that Mandela had to be able to go out and make a difference. I think it's important that we have more meaningfulness in our lives. And here's one great way in which we can do it. Make life meaningful. Have a meaningful week. I'll talk to you next week. Bye-bye.